How's it going, everybody? It's Prod here, and welcome back to another Elden Ring video. I know, crazy, what a surprise, Elden Ring. Today we are going to be talking about invasions. And I guess my thoughts on invasions now that we've been playing the game for about 2 months now. What do I think is like the meta level when it comes to different... I don't even know if I should... there's no point in saying meta level for invasions. Like, I don't think there's no reason for there to ever be a meta level for invasions. Anytime people ask me about like meta levels for invasions, in terms of like rune level, it never makes any sense to me because you're going to be invading in a bunch of different areas. I feel like meta is like a dueling thing, right? Or am I crazy? I don't know. I guess you guys can let me know. But I want to talk about invasions, specifically invasions in PvP. Not really duels, because believe it or not, I haven't really done any like at all, like proper duels where I go somewhere, put down my red sign, or even summon people into the world. I know the specific spot next to the school where everybody like PvPs has become like the official arena, I guess, for the game. I haven't done that, and I'm probably going to start doing that here pretty soon because I feel like I just need to get way better when it comes to those one-on-one situations. But I want to talk about invasions in general because basically every day that I stream it over on twitch.tv/lprod_. If you ever want to watch live, feel free to come do so. Am I still enjoying the game? Do I think the game is fun? Are the invasions worth doing if you're a new player? Stuff like that. So first of all, I really only invade at this point on my rune level 140 character. That's just where I ended up after I finished my playthrough, and I haven't really leveled up since then. Mainly because I already find it very hard to find invasions except for basically 4 specific areas. You have the Lake of Liurnia, which is basically the new Gank City. Then you have the first step, interestingly enough, literally the very first area. Another area that's like Gank City or the Ringed City, where it's basically just people specifically ganking, like literally a host, 1 phantom or 2 phantoms most of the time, specifically ganking invaders that want to play and invade them. Not really people going through co-op. Then when it comes to the actual co-op areas, the only places that I could ever really invade are Haligtree, basically like the end of the Haligtree closer to where Millennia is, and Farum Azula are pretty much the only 2 PvE areas that I ever invade at rune level 140, which is understandable because it's pretty high in general. I had my character at level 50 as well, but honestly at this point it's just become like just way too... I don't want to say unfair because I guess I go specifically looking for ganks, but I guess the way the ganks work, and you guys know how I feel about the way the phantoms work in this game. It's just completely unbalanced. The amount of people that I run into is just way too difficult at rune level 50 in my opinion to have like a proper build. It's just way too low. Honestly, if you want to do like mid-level invasions, I feel like you're going to have to be like 90 or like 80. I feel like 80 might be kind of perfect. Those 30 extra levels and like probably 2 extra weapon levels really give you a lot of leeway compared to, getting a ton of invasions at rune level 50, but then just getting the host who's typically going to be probably not so great, and then having just over leveled phantoms that are literally level 150, level 200, 300. Endgame weapons, endgame spells, non-stop spam, and basically 2-shotting you with just about every move they do, while it takes you a solid 15 hits to kill them with, anything that's not Rivers of Blood. So I kind of stopped doing invasions at that rune level 50 because honestly, like, it was super fun at the beginning when everybody was level 50, like legitimately. So the co-opers and all those people you were getting were all actually at that rune level. Even if they were a little bit higher, typically not all of them are going to have endgame weapons, endgame spells, the most properly optimized bleed builds, Rivers of Blood, every other invasion. You just didn't really see it so much right in the beginning, and that was the most freaking fun. Like the Radon weapon videos that I did, the Star Scourge Greatswords. Honestly, that like session of invasion is probably still my favorite that I've ever done in the entire game so far, like right in the beginning. But it's natural as a meta progresses and more builds come out that things are just going to get stronger. But one thing I would really be interested in, what level are you guys actually invading in the most as well? Maybe you guys could let me know like your level and your area. I would really appreciate it because I really like, I guess I don't know what proper level would be like great to get a ton of invasions, not have it be super unfair when it comes to really over leveled phantoms, and I guess just a variety of area. I'm thinking like 80 or 90. That might not be so bad, but I guess you guys can let me know. So rune level 140 is kind of where I've been sticking around, because then, you know, you still have level 200, 300 phantoms that you see every other invasion. And I mean, just yesterday I was doing invasions, and no joke, I saw 45 rivers of blood. And that's not a joke, because we literally have a counter of like how many rivers of blood we see, and I saw 45. And that's not even counting like Moonveil and Bloodhound Step, but I don't really mind Moonveil too much anymore, to be honest. But it's kind of insane how many people actually are like just using that one weapon. It is very satisfying for them to just spam L2 and then you kind of outplay them, or you roll catch them because they don't know how to roll. Most of the time they're going to have a backup weapon with Bloodhound Step and just Bloodhound Step away. But when you get that moment where you just roll catch somebody who all they can do is press L2, it's pretty goddamn funny. So obviously, like I said, 45 rivers of blood. You see a lot of build variety at rune level 140. But with the right build and you having the right weapon to kind of deal with these people and these ganks, because a lot of the times it's basically going to be 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 2, or if you're really lucky, 2 versus 2. 2 versus 2 is easily the most fun. But as long as you have the right weapon to deal with that, then they're usually pretty fun. Sadly, I think there's just like not a crazy amount of weapons. It's cool with the Arts of War. You're able to kind of have maybe a shittier weapon that you could pop a really good Art of War on, and that basically turns it into a really solid weapon. I've noticed that any time that I have a weapon that's not something that can do like an instant 1,000 damage, where maybe I could almost insta-kill one of the people to kind of turn like a 1v3 into like a 2v1, typically I have way less fun, because it will usually involve me running in there, you know, if I have a normal weapon, normal Art of War, do 400 or 500 damage to a guy who's going to have probably 2,000 HP. And then I get hit by the 2 phantoms, and then the host is Rivers of Blood. Maybe even all 3 of them having Rivers of Blood, all at the same time, instantly deleting my 2,000 HP. And to be honest, like the fact that you kind of need that type of build or that type of weapon that could instantly deal out like a quick 1,000 damage, 1,200 damage, you know, 1,500 damage, something that would really actually scare a host and their 2 phantoms, it's kind of unfortunate, because I would say there's not a ton of them. There's so many like fun looking weapons that I really want to try and fuck around with that I just really can't, because if I do, at least not in invasions, maybe like duels and stuff, it might be alright. But for example, the little doot weapon that's just kind of a hammer and shoots a bubble. You know, like if I go in there into invasions at rune level 140 and try to use this fucking doot bubble on people, you know how many times I'm going to get obliterated for like 1 or 2 good invasions that I'm going to have? Definitely tons. It'll be like 90% loss rate. And I just feel that's not fun to watch on stream. So unfortunately, like most of my choices of weapons come like, okay, I have to have something that is really strong so I can kind of counter and make it sort of fair. I say, in my eyes, fair is, you know, a 2v1 fight, because at least it's not 3v1. Now, obviously, that is what I look for. Like, I'm not really complaining. It's what I want to invade. I'm going to be honest. I'd prefer 3v1 Rivers of Blood way over invading one guy who's by himself, who doesn't know how to play the game, and I just go in there and he's just hiding behind a shield and I just press R1 4 times and he dies. There's zero entertainment value in that. And there's zero satisfaction in legitimately killing somebody who is by themselves and just not knowing how to play the game, not even a little bit, their first time ever playing the video game. I have zero fun from that. I never did it on Dark Souls 3 or in any of the other Souls games, because I didn't enjoy it personally, and I didn't think that you guys would as well. So the fact that I'm invading, you know, gankers who legitimately want to be ganked in these specific areas is what I look for. Which is kind of funny, by the way, because I've had a lot of people who are really against like invasions for some reason, like come into the streams and be like how dare you, you know, they see like me and an invader finally dwindle down some over leveled phantom and his host, and then like we'll gank the host together, obviously because they were ganking us together, and they'll just be like, how dare you have no honor and fight that host 1v1. It's like, bitch, were you here a minute ago when they were non-stop shooting spells and Arts of Wars at me? And these people are some of the most annoying, who have no idea like what, you know, do they know what an invader is? It's pretty funny in that regard. But either way, I would say that I am still enjoying Elden Ring, and I am enjoying the invasions aspect. with the whole change up of now only being able to invade people who are co-oping is kind of unfortunate, because it just makes it so you just have way less of a chance to invade people, and it kind of closes out the invasion system to a very small portion of people. To be honest, I really like the way Dark Souls 3 did it. A lot of the times when I would invade in Dark Souls 3, I would sometimes invade one guy, like I said, the thing that I think is really boring. But then they would have the blue summons on, and then they would get a bunch of helpers, and then those helpers would come in. Then it would become like a proper fight. You know, I'd have a blue, I'd kill the blue, then another blue gets summoned, and then maybe he tries to summon a phantom. And then that back and forth between this guy who, like, is legitimately not good at the game, basically hiding behind all these people, and me slowly picking all those people off. That was really fun for me. Definitely way more fun than, like, again, like I said, me going up to the one guy who doesn't know how to play and just R1 spamming him to death. And you can't really do that in this game. In fact, it still happens, except, again, like I said, it's with people who want to be invaded. So they're just sitting there. You kill their phantoms, then they continue to get blues, and then you very rarely get reds. Like, it's so, honestly, it's so rare that I get a freaking invading buddy, like, right away. It's been happening more, but god damn it, it's still rare, man. Like, probably 1 in every, like, 10 invasions. You know, I'll maybe do 50 invasions in a session. 1 in, like, 10, I'll get somebody. And it is always beautiful when it happens, because things go pretty smoothly, for the most part, you know, except for the parts where they kind of shoot a bolt of Grand Sax at the back of my head and killing me accidentally. Although, not to say I haven't done that a couple times, because I definitely have. I would definitely be very curious to see how another 2 months is going to go for this game. You know, is it going to be dead? Or will we always have people, like in Gang City, that are going to be sitting there and wanting to be ganked? Because at this point, I run into some of the same people almost like every day. Like, I'll recognize somebody's name or a group's name and like know, like, okay, these guys, I know exactly what they do. They run away. There's 3 guys that just sit in one spot. Like, literally yesterday when I was invading, I ran into the same group like 6 times where they would have just one little square where they would sit in. They would basically have a guy with Rivers of Blood. Then a guy would have Radon swords, who basically covered the entirety of the little square where they were sitting at, and then a mage to shoot spells from the back. There I am, using dual Eleonora's twin blades, which is a good weapon. I just didn't stand a chance because these people just did not move. They did not separate. And that's basically what you got to do in that situation. You got to try to separate them, and hopefully you could do a weaponar, or with the Eleonora's twin blades, twin poles, or whatever they're called. Like a jumping L1 does some really good damage. Basically something that does a shit ton of damage to one guy after you separate him. That's kind of the way you gotta play it. And to be honest, it's really satisfying when you pull it off correctly and it works out and it goes beautifully. You guys have seen it in my videos, man. Like, it's so satisfying to do that. And I think it offers the most entertaining invasion, which is the reason that I really enjoy, like, fighting a uphill battle, because I think it will offer the best video possible when it comes to like an invasion. The cool thing about this game, even though I would say in terms of like weaponry, there's maybe not a ton of weapons that are insane that, like I said, could get you that very, very high damage or one-shot potential. What you do have, luckily, is a lot of really cool tools to help. So you have all the arts of war. There's honestly a bunch of talismans that kind of work really well together. The flask that you have, the physics flask, offers another thing that could just, let's say you're using a lightning build. You have the physics flask to boost your lightning damage for 3 minutes. So there's a lot of things to help boost up some of these weapons, but I feel like there's just some weapons that are just, man, they're just not powerful enough. And then you have, on the other hand, weapons that are just way too powerful. I don't know how you balance that. I have some ideas for like Rivers of Blood, but like, does it really matter? I don't think they're gonna nerf that weapon anymore, to be honest. And really, I don't care anymore when it comes to Rivers of Blood. It's an everyday thing. I'm gonna see it every day. I'm basically starting to not really care too much about it. The one that gets me still is fucking Bloodhound Step. I think Bloodhound Step is way worse, in my opinion, than Rivers of Blood in terms of PvP. I don't really give a shit what people use in PvE. They can use all they want. It's just It's the thing that requires the least amount of skill that gives you the most amount of advantage that I have ever seen in any of the From Software games, for sure. But definitely I'm gonna have to try out duels. I'm gonna have to try to see how the dueling system is and how that crowd is over there, and see if it's any fun. And I guess I'll probably make another video of that when I have more experience of that. But yeah, I guess that's really my thoughts so far on the invasions. While still very unfair, I think it honestly has some of the coolest moments that I've ever experienced in a From Software PvP scenario. There's very few things that have ever given me more satisfaction than one-shotting 3 people in a row with the bolted Grand Sax, or drinking my double explosion flask, instantly killing 2 or 3 people, or just basically decimating a gank squad with 1 Art of War. It's incredibly satisfying. There's so many cool things in this game that aren't just Rivers of Blood, Bloodhound Steppe, and Moonveil that would be nice if you see more often in Invasions. You just sadly don't. You kind of just see those 3 things 80% of the time, and then the other 10% is going to be a bleed build, probably with dual seppuku, Naginatas, or that other one, the God Stitcher. And then you see like 10% really cool invasion. I've gotten a few really cool hosts, but they're very few and far between. Will it get better? Who knows, man. I think it has the potential to. And I think a lot of you guys have said how you think that it has the potential to have a long lifespan. I don't know if it does, to be honest. I think it has not so much potential to have a very long lifespan when it comes to invasions. Because sadly, like I said, I'm at 140 and there's 4 areas out of the gigantic map where I could invade. And really, that's how it was for Dark Souls 3. But I feel like Dark Souls 3 just had a better PvP system, in my opinion. Even though there's no way I would really want to go back and play Dark Souls 3 now. Like, I have no want at all to go back and play any of the other Souls games. Like, not even a little bit. I just want to play more and more Elden Ring. I want to get better. I want to get good enough so that I can just continuously, maybe not even ever really need any of the really strong weapons. But I don't know if that's possible, really. Like, this game, it's almost like who has the strongest tool rather than who has the most skill. 100%. But maybe there will be a point where that flips. Possibly. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for the video today. Just a little bit of thoughts on invasions, particularly focusing at around rune level 50 and 140 where I play at. And I'd love to hear what you guys think so far of the PvP. You know, are you enjoying invasions? How are you enjoying duels as well? If you want to leave that in the comment section. And once again, if you ever want to watch the videos being recorded live, like the Adventures of the Worst Invader, I do stream over on twitch.tv/lprod_. Link is in the description. Make sure you follow if you want to watch. Thank you so much if you do so. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!